News at 6.
Eagle Eye TV has done a great job.
And welcome to Eagle Eye News at 6.
We are just having a great time here in Auburn, Alabama. The party is not over yet.
Eagle Eye TV, Auburn's news leader.
Good evening and welcome to Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Alice Estes.
And I'm Hazelrig. Thank you for joining us.
With Hurricane Milton hot on the heels of Helene, Florida residents are struggling to catch a break. Florida locals took it upon themselves to prepare for disaster before the hurricane made landfall and were left to clean up after the storm finished its path of destruction.
Eagle Eye's Sublette reports from Orlando.
Hurricane Milton threatened the lives and livelihoods of countless Florida residents when it made landfall last Wednesday night. However, upon returning to my hometown of Orlando, Florida, I found not a story of destruction, but one of resilience and triumph. Across the state, thousands of people are without hot water and even more go without power. Residents on the West Coast, specifically Sarasota and Tampa, got hit the hardest, battling flooding and property damage.
The city hasn't really helped us as far as I've seen. I've seen them help throughout different complexes in the area. I've seen OUC going up and down the roads. Our area was completely cleaned up by the residents here, like my family included. Like, we chopped up a tree, and the maintenance staff of our apartment complex. None of this was done by the city. This is all done by the people who live here.
I've been living in Orlando for 15 years. The last big storm we had was a couple years ago, where I live near Universal, and that was like a lot more flooding over there. I know different areas that it's going to affect you differently because we have lots of lakes and different ponds and streams and stuff like that. But it's all about just being prepared, not panicking, and being proactive instead of reactive in this type of thing, and making sure that if you're buying supplies, you're leaving enough people for the other, families that are behind you, and not just thinking about yourself. So you always got to think about others.
For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Sublette.
Thank you, Jack. Back in March, Alabama Governor Kay Ivey signed off on the SB 129 bill, which prohibits public entities from, quote, promoting, endorsing, or requiring affirmation of or certain divisive concepts relating to race, sex, or religion, end quote. The bill officially went into effect October 1st and resulted in the dissolving of Auburn's Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
Auburn University Student Government Association held a campus roundtable discussion in late September. This meeting allowed university administrators to address students' concerns about the passing of the bill. Eagle Eye's Morgan Sims reports.
Student leaders and administrators gather at the campus roundtable to discuss the recent passing of the SB 129 bill and its effect on Auburn University students, faculty, and staff. Earlier this year, Governor Kay Ivey signed SB 129 into law, officially taking effect October 1st, 2024. This anti-DEI bill will prohibit public entities from funding and maintaining offices dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and projects. In compliance to the bill, Auburn dissolved its DEI office, which raised concerns for many Auburn University students. This roundtable event gave students the opportunity to express their concerns to administrators.
It possibly took away spaces that made me feel included or that made me feel safe. Like, coming to campus, you always want to have a spot where you feel like, okay, that's my go-to spot. This is where I'm going to go to study or to relax.
Student leaders and administrators want to hear from the Auburn community to see what steps they need to take moving forward.
If they have a question or they have a concern, bring it to us and let us address it. And if we found out there is something in there, then we can address that at the same time. So the way we can do it is we're just going to be proactive, but we're also going to listen and listen to our faculty, staff, and our students and figure out how we can make our campus better, which we've always been trying to do that. We want to be better tomorrow than we are today.
For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Morgan Sims.
Thanks, Morgan. Following up from last week's story on the art takeover at Toomer's Corner held by the Auburn Students for Palestine group, late Monday evening, students gathered to hold a memorial on the one-year anniversary of the October 7th attack.
Students returned to the university side of Toomer's Corner around 7 p.m. last Monday to hold the memorial. Campus security was positioned at the corner all day until the group left that night. The student group lit candles, painted signs, and read a poem to commemorate the lives lost. Community member Stephen McGintrey, who attended the Sunday afternoon art takeover, returned Monday night despite his involvement in a physical altercation the day before. When speaking to Eagle Eye about why the group felt compelled to have a presence on campus, he said this.
Today is the one-year anniversary of the Gaza genocide, and people can say whatever they want to about what happened on October 7th. They can say that this is a terrorist attack against Israel, but the fact of the matter is that ever since the Zionist Federation came about, they have had their eye on reshaping the land of Palestine, the Holy Land to all three Abrahamic religions, into a homeland for Jewish people.
Eagle Eye did reach out to the directors for public affairs and compliance for Auburn University in regards to how they address student demonstrations and protests on campus, but did not receive a response or statement.
When we come back, you'll get a look at the weather forecast this week with Kensley Davis. You're watching Eagle Eye News at 6.
Hey Auburn, and welcome back to Eagle Eye. Dave here with our weather update for the week on the weather is beginning to change around here in Auburn. Depending on your favorite season, you might like what it has in store. We're starting to see what many Alabamians consider 4 seasons one day. As we look into this upcoming week, your day on campus will remain hot or at least warm with upper to 70. But by nightfall, sunset, you might have back readily available as the fall breeze has back chilly and cold nights this week as well, with the lows dropping into the lower 40s. The Tigers are back on the road this week after their bye week in Missouri. If you're planning to make the trek, make sure you dress warm as fall are also in full effect. Here on the plains this weekend, we'll see the same hot trends, but by night, you'll be asking yourself, is it December? On the way to class, make sure you dress accordingly, pack your umbrella, and stay hydrated. That's your weather update for the week. Come back, you'll get a national news update from Alice and Luke. I'm Kensley Davis. You're watching Eagle Eye News at
Residents in the Sunshine State are cleaning up from another hurricane as recovery begins from Milton. More than 1 million people remain without power across the state, and fuel is scarce in hard-hit counties along Florida's west coast.
Rivers are also causing flooding as Milton left record rainfall in less than 24 hours, trapping people inside their home. Brian Abel has the latest from Valrico, Florida.
Floods, blackouts, fuel shortages. That is what many residents in Florida woke up to Saturday as cleanup from Hurricane Milton continues.
It's surreal. You see it on the news of other people, and you feel for them.
Never have I experienced damage or the amount of tornadoes that came through this area.
More than 1 million Floridians remain without power as crews work to clear debris from roads and power lines. And flooding has prompted several rescues Saturday, especially along Tampa's Hillsborough River that sustained over 16 inches of rain from Milton.
Mother Nature does a phenomenal job of getting rid of that water, but it all goes to the river that has to go out into the bay, and unfortunately has to pass through a lot of areas that hasn't seen over 25 feet of flooding.
Gasoline is also hard to come by in the Tampa Bay area. More than 75% of gas stations in the region are without fuel, according to gas price tracking platform GasBuddy.
Hopefully they're going to figure it out in the next day or two, because otherwise I'll have to drive. I don't know where to get gas.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says the state is setting up public fuel sites to help out those in need.
These public fuel sites, although we have done fuel support in the past, we've never done it to this scale.
President Biden is expected to visit parts of Florida hit by Milton on Sunday, and agencies say they will be on the ground as long as it takes. In Valrico, Florida, I'm Brian Abel reporting.
Thank you, Brian. We're learning more about a man arrested near former President Donald Trump's campaign rally in Coachella, California.
Federal officials tell CNN as of now there's no evidence to indicate the man detained before Saturday's rally had any intention of trying to assassinate Trump. Sheriff Chad Bianco revealed at a news conference Sunday that deputies stopped 49-year-old Vim Miller of Las Vegas. Miller had made it through the first 2 perimeters of security. Authorities say Miller was sitting in an SUV and deputies noticed something was not right.
When they went to investigate, deputies found Miller had on him multiple driver's licenses and passports with different names. The vehicle was unregistered and had a fake license plate. Bianco said Miller had a loaded handgun, a shotgun, and ammunition in the vehicle. Ballot security is a concern for many voters. This issue bubbled up in Colorado last week when some residents in the city of Centennial reported someone stole their mail.
It was the same day residents received word their mail-in ballots were supposed to arrive. Sam Pina talked with some neighbors and has more.
When we went out to take the dog for a walk,
A morning like any other that took a turn.
we noticed that our mailbox was open and our mail was gone.
Sean Cochran's mail stolen, and he wasn't alone.
Pretty much everybody's mailbox in our neighborhood had been opened and the mail was gone.
The Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office says that multiple residents in this Centennial neighborhood had their mail stolen Friday night.
I noticed that my ballots were delivered last night.
For Cochran, the concern was more than just a few stolen coupons.
There's no ballots in anybody else's mailbox.
He fears that the thief was targeting their mail-in ballots.
I've been in this neighborhood for 3 years. I've never had mail theft, ever. I've never had a crime of any kind in this neighborhood.
Very bad timing.
Gordon Hall shares the concern.
We'd all like to get our ballots and be able to vote as American citizens.
But he was one of the few fortunate ones that still has his mail.
Our neighbors was not open on this side just because they have a locked mailbox.
When we arrived at the street, we found that the majority of the mailboxes were open. But we also noticed that not every mailbox was the same out here. The majority of the mailboxes that had lost their mail were ones like this, which could be opened by anyone. But those that have a lock in place, their mail was still inside, safe and sound, but there were still no ballots that were mailed out.
It shows both of our ballots in the emails.
Cochran showed us a message from the USPS showing that his mail should have arrived this morning. But we reached out to the U.S. Postal Service, who told us that the update means that the ballots have only arrived for delivery, but won't be sent out until Monday.
There's too many bad actors in the universe.
Still, after a chaotic morning, Cochran and this quiet neighborhood feel unsettled.
You should feel safe in your home.
When we return, you'll get an Auburn sports update with Sophia Weber. You're watching Eagle Eye News at 6.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Sophia Weber, back to give you a recap on all of the big stories that occurred in Auburn sports last week. Let's get right into it. Even though it was fall break, the action was heating up across all sports. First up, the Auburn women's golf made history at the Illinois Women's Invitation. They recorded the lowest round in program history, finishing an impressive 18 under par. Leading the charge was our very own Anna Davis, who not only took home the tournament title, but was also named SEC Player of the Week, shooting 13 under. Switching gears to volleyball, the Lady Tigers faced off against Mississippi State in Starkville this past Sunday. After dropping the first set, they rallied back to secure a 3-1 victory. The return of Emma Moore brought a different level of energy to the team, as Coach Brent Crouch noted. And let's not forget the collegiate debut of Jasmine Okiomo, who provided a strong defensive presence. Meanwhile, the women's soccer team had a dramatic showdown against Alabama in one of the biggest in-state rivalries. Senior Carly Thatcher scored a crucial game-tying goal on a penalty kick, resulting in a 1-1 tie. They quickly bounced back on Sunday, defeating the Tennessee Volunteers 3-2 on the road, a physical matchup that prepares them for their upcoming battle against Kentucky this Friday. In other news, the Auburn women's tennis and equestrian continue to dominate. For the first time ever, all 4 singles semifinalists in the ITA Southern Regional are Auburn Tigers. And ranked number 1 in the nation, the equestrians made quick work of South Carolina, winning 14-5. On the diamond, both the baseball and softball teams looked strong in their fall ball exhibition game. The baseball team swept a doubleheader against Florida State, while the softball team hosted West Georgia and Chipola College at home, showcasing their talent. Finally, though the football team had a bye week, they used that time to prepare for their upcoming matchup against Missouri. They'll be hitting the road, looking to turn things around this Saturday at 11 a.m. Central. Catch all the action streaming live on ESPN. And that is all I have for you tonight. When we come back, you'll get a look at some big news in the world of aerospace. I'm Sophia Weber for Eagle Eye Sports, and you are watching Eagle Eye News at 6. We'll be right back.
SpaceX's Starship rocket, the most powerful rocket ever built, completed its 5th test flight in dramatic fashion. Take a look at this. The Super Heavy rocket booster, along with the spacecraft, launched early Sunday from the Boca Chica, Texas. It's taller than a 20-story building. Starship flew through space after detaching from the boosters, which later fell to Earth less than 10 minutes later.
The spacecraft itself flew halfway around the world before splashing down in the Indian Ocean. No one was on board, but the flight is a key milestone towards the company's aim to make Starship a fully reusable rocket system. Police in Danville, Indiana are warning residents about the door kick challenge involving picking a house's door and then running away.
It's very dangerous. I mean, had I shot through that front door, I don't know who would have got shot.
Rhonda Atkerson said someone kicked down her door around 5 a.m. this summer. Even though it happened in June, you could see a faint footprint left on the door.
And you can see the other one started here.
At that time, her 3 grandchildren were in the house visiting. Her son heard the commotion.
3 hard kicks. He yelled at my grandson, "Tell Mama I'll get her gun." Honest. And then all he heard was crashing and banging.
Danville police said a total of 3 similar incidents happened on East and West Mill Street. Nothing was stolen, no one entered the home, just doors kicked hard in the early morning. One resulted in a broken door latch. Police are warning that homeowners have the right to defend their homes and that 2 of the 3 victims were armed. They say none of the homes had a doorbell camera. No arrests were made and no suspects.
Parents need to know where your children are, especially after dark.
Atkerson says the prank has left a lasting impact.
It was scary. My grandchildren were just, a nervous wreck. I was a nervous wreck. But they had knocked everything. Once they heard my son, they knocked everything off my front porch because the table's there trying to get away.
If you're not looking forward to the cooler months and wanted one more trip to the beach, then you're in luck. Airfares to some of the world's most gorgeous beaches are now a lot cheaper. The flight comparison site Skyscanner has recently released a travel trend report that revealed destinations with the biggest airfare drop from the U.S. over the past year. The location that came out on top was the Mediterranean resort city of Nice. Fares to the city fell by 27% in the first half of the year compared to the last year.
If you want to travel a little closer to the U.S., then head to Castries, St. Lucia, and Bridgetown, Barbados. Fares to those locations dropped by 25% and 24% respectively. We're out of time, but for more Auburn news, head over to our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, and check out our social media pages. I'm Alice Estes.
And I'm Lucas Hazelrig. Thank you for watching, and War Eagle.